5 o'clock Central European Time. This is AFN's Evening News Watch. Good afternoon. From Mannheim, Germany, I'm Gary Bautell. President Bush's stay-the-course strategy for victory in Iraq is not sitting well with one of the war's biggest critics, Democratic Congressman John Murtha, one-time hawk who supported the war, ignited a political firestorm by calling for a pullout from Iraq within 6 months, something the president refuses to do.
I was disappointed that he didn't give any kind of a definite plan which would have reassured the American public, which they want. They're crying out for reassurance.
I'm Heather Bosch in Seattle, where you find many people who want U.S. troops home from Iraq now. But they say, realistically, well, the president has a point. It'll take time to rebuild Iraq.
We're in for the long run.
The long haul, huh?
Yeah.
If you break it, you have to pay for it.
I do realize it does need to be finished.
We have to finish the job, I think.
And do you see that taking months or years?
Probably years if we do it right.
I think we're going to be over there for a few years.
In my heart, I think years.
Heather Bosch for CBS News, Seattle.
On the ground in Iraq, 2 more Americans have been killed in action, pushing the death toll for the month of November to 84. Captain Bill Roberts at Central Command Headquarters in Baghdad.
The Marine died of wounds received from small arms fire. They were conducting combat operations against the enemy in the Fallujah area on the 30th. There was a Task Force Baghdad soldier who died as a result of gunshot wounds. That happened just north of Baghdad.
2 comedians delivered their blue-collar brand of humor to service members in Heidelberg and Mannheim. Specialist Daryl Fulgham reports on that.
What do you not touch? What's sacred? Is there any sacred cows? I certainly don't make light of this war on stage because I have a 15-year-old son, so I don't make light of any war.
Ron Tater Salad White is well known for his scotch and cigars, but few people know of his support for the troops. His counterpart, Robert Hawkins, has an obvious fondness for the military. He performs regularly for service members.
And I don't know sometimes if I'm here for them or if they're here for me, because they make you feel at home, and they never stop thanking you.
Great chance during the holidays to go say thank you to some guys that are providing some freedom that I just bask around in and sometimes take for granted. And and it's been a great experience.
That weekend, the first snow of the season fell outside, while inside, a happy Thanksgiving crowd laughed it up with 2 very funny men. Reporting from Heidelberg, Germany, Specialist Daryl Fulgham, AFN News.
And in your exchange rates today, the dollar is practically unchanged at 0.8286 euros, 1.27 Swiss francs, 6.09 Danish krone, and 6.52 Norwegian krone. It's 3 minutes now on your Evening News Watch time. The Department of Defense announces the implementation of traumatic injury protection insurance under the Service Members Group Life Insurance, or SGLI program. The program, which will be known as TSGLI, is designed to provide financial assistance to service members during their recovery period from a serious traumatic injury. As of today, all members eligible for SGLI will become insured for traumatic injury protection of up to $100,000 unless they decline SGLI coverage. A flat monthly premium of $1 will be added to the monthly SGLI deduction. A historic realignment of Israeli politics jumped forward when a longtime Labor Party leader and Nobel Prize laureate Shimon Peres transferred his loyalties to Prime Minister Ariel Sharon's new centrist party. CBS correspondent Robert Berger reports from Jerusalem.
If Ariel Sharon's new Kadima party wins early elections in March, Shimon Peres would be appointed chief negotiator with the Palestinians.
I decided to dedicate the next years to contribute to the supreme effort of making peace between our neighbors and us.
Peres, who is Israel's leading dove, and Sharon, who was once Israel's top hawk, used to be political rivals. Now, Peres says Sharon is the man most capable of making peace. Robert Berger, CBS News, Jerusalem.
Children replaced by Hurricanes Katrina and Rita helped light this year's Rockefeller Center Christmas tree in New York City. Mayor Michael Bloomberg and Harry Connick Jr. also helped set the tree aglow. Al Roker and Will of Grace star Megan Maloney heisted the festivities. Sheryl Crow, Brian Seltzer Orchestra, and Earth, Wind and Fire performed. This year's tree is a 74-foot-tall Norway spruce from Wayne, New Jersey. 5 minutes now past the hour. The California Supreme Court has refused to stop the December 13th execution of Crips gang leader Toki Williams. His hope now is that Governor Schwarzenegger will grant clemency. A woman demonstrating in support of Williams says he's not the same man who was convicted of killing 4 people.
We hope that the governor listens to Toki's lawyers and the people who have spoken on behalf of Toki and grants him clemency.
Time could be running out for Kenneth Boyd. He is on death row in North Carolina and is sentenced to be executed at 2 a.m. tomorrow. Barring intervention by a federal appeals court or Governor Mike Easley, Boyd will become the 1,000th person executed in the United States since capital punishment was reinstated. In an interview with the Associated Press, Boyd said he would hate to be remembered as a number. He considers the death penalty nothing but revenge and thinks he should spend the rest of his life in prison. Boyd was convicted in the shooting deaths of his estranged wife and her father in 1988. Police in Philadelphia are holding 2 suspects in the shooting death of a teenager who had recently gained national attention as an outstanding single father. 18-year-old Terrell Poy was gunned down outside his home 2 weeks ago in what police say was some kind of dispute. This summer, he was profiled in People magazine for his devotion to his 2-year-old daughter. In the article, he was quoted as saying, "If something ever happens to me, no one can ever tell her that her dad didn't take care of her." Police arrested the suspects after recovering the stolen car, which was part of the help he was given after the article came out. We live in a credit card nation. The people at Visa tell us their cards alone are used this time of year more than 5,000 times a minute. According to one survey, the average American is carrying a credit card debt of nearly $4,000. Credit card debt is not just bad for the individual, it can be bad for the whole U.S. economy. CBS correspondent Trish Reagan has that story.
Bob Manning, professor of finance at Rochester Institute of Technology, has new research on how Americans live with debt. The most surprising thing, people really aren't that bothered by it.
We planned financially about how much better things will be 5 or 10 years later.
Pure optimism.
Pure optimism.
But some analysts worry that optimism may be misplaced. Interest rates are rising, putting consumers in a credit crunch.
Connecticut could soon have some of the toughest campaign finance laws in the country. State lawmakers have passed a measure placing strict limits on campaign contributions and creating a publicly funded election system. Governor Jody Rell says she will sign it into law. The measure doesn't go into effect until after next year's elections, but it will allocate about $17 million a year for political campaigns and bar contributions from lobbyists and contractors that do business with the state. The head of the national organization Public Campaign calls the Connecticut measure the strongest piece of reform legislation in the country. Incirlik Air Base's Girl Scouts are contributing to this year's Project Cheer Cookie Caper.
Incirlik Air Base's Girl Scouts are contributing to this year's Project Cheer Cookie Caper. Along with other organizations on base, Overseas Coordinator Tech Sergeant Julie Van Heist says that these girls are whipping up some of everyone's favorite seasonal treats, cookies.
Even though they're young, they still understand that there's people on this base that don't have their families, so that getting the girls involved with making cookies and decorating bags is a great way to show that they know and respect for others on this base.
The Scouts are contributing some of the 1,500 dozen cookies for single and unaccompanied airmen, spreading a little love this holiday season with a dozen warm cookies. If it's good enough for Santa Claus, it's good enough for airmen. Airman First Class Alex Griffin, Incirlik Air Base, Turkey.
Our weather forecast and exchange rates are coming up right after this.
When you travel, it's a good idea to look at what's going on where you're going. There's no better way than to log on to usembassy.state.gov.
usembassy.state.gov.
There you can find the latest travel advisories, custom regulations, or even weather updates.
usembassy.state.gov.
Find out the do's and don'ts of the country you're going to. And just to be on the safe side, write down the number for the consulate or embassy where you'll be.
usembassy.state.gov.
usembassy.state.gov. Your connection to the rest of the world.
Okay, people, we're in trouble. We need a way to get single soldiers into a program. The program should let them know there's opportunities for soldiers to get out and make a difference in their community. Any ideas?
Sir, how about the BOSS program? Better opportunities for single soldiers. They provide an active voice for single soldiers at the installation where they serve.
How about this? The BOSS program. They provide an active voice for single soldiers at the installation where they serve.
Excellent idea, sir. I just said that.
Yes, but you didn't say,
BOSS, an Army MWR program. Check to see if it's right for you.
Commander, United States Air Forces in Europe, General Robert Doc Fogelsong.
Hey, I'm in Norway where I'm flying in NATO Air Meet 2005. This live fly exercise includes pilots and combat aircraft from 20 nations. The emphasis is on tactical air operations and honing warfighting skills. Together we'll practice and evaluate tactics and suppress enemy air defenses. Events like these maximize the exchange of ideas and foster mutual understanding. To all our allies and military friends, thanks for hooking up with us.
Get your connection weekday afternoons.
10 minutes past the hour, I'm Army Sergeant Brian Ellis, and you're listening.
Tune to the Power Network, 2 to 4 Central European Time. Classic hits, current news.
Plus, we're going to be talking with the Command Sergeant Major about the new uniform.
The music takes you back. The reports keep you grounded.
Your exchange rates and a tip for investing. You're listening to Connections.
Shining star for you to see what your life can truly be.
Hello, I'm Army Sergeant Shannon Wright. Coming up tonight on the AFN Evening News, we take you inside a cordon and knock. It's a new technique soldiers are using on the streets of Iraq. And soldiers build to make life in Iraq a little better for them and for soldiers on their way. Plus, service members in Greenland tell us why every day is a race against time. These stories and more tonight on the AFN Evening News on AFN Atlantic Television at 6:30 Central European Time.
You're listening live to AFN's Evening News Watch on the Power Network. I'm Gary Bautell. It's about 12 minutes past the hour. Time for a look at business headlines. Stock prices are going up in the early trading. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is up about 60 points. Advancing issues on the New York Stock Exchange hold a 4-to-1 lead over the decliners. The NASDAQ Composite Index is ahead 13 points, and the Standard & Poor's 500 Stock Index is up 7.25 points. Is Santa Claus rally? Well, Wall Street has high hopes for the stock market for the final month of the year. The Dow gained 3.5% in November, helping to boost spirits, generally positive economic data, and the drop in crude oil prices from their hurricane-inspired highs. On top of that, today's chain stores data on November sales is confirming that the shopper has been spending. Walmart expects December same-store sales of between 2 and 4%. The Labor Department says new claims for jobless benefits fell 17,000 last week to 320,000. Major indexes are also going up in Europe after the European Central Bank hiked rates for the first time in 5 years. Here's your weather watch for tomorrow, Friday, the 2nd of December. Germany will be partly cloudy to cloudy with rain and snow mixed in the southern area. Highs will be in the upper 30s. The Benelux mostly cloudy to cloudy with some rain, upper 30s. The UK mostly cloudy to cloudy with rain and highs in the mid-50s. Baghdad, sunny skies, 77 degrees will be the high. Spain will be mostly cloudy with rain showers, highs in the lower 60s. Scandinavia, cloudy with rain and snow mixed, upper 40s. Wagram, sunny skies and 47 degrees. Northern Italy, partly to mostly cloudy with dense fog, highs in the mid-50s. Southern Italy, cloudy with rain showers, highs in the lower 60s. Turkey, partly cloudy to cloudy, isolated rain showers, highs in the mid-60s. The Balkans, partly cloudy to cloudy, dense fog, highs in the lower 40s. And for your exchange rates available at your military banking facility, the dollar is pretty much the same as it was yesterday. 0.8286 euros, 1.27 Swiss francs, 6.09 Danish krone, 6.52 Norwegian krone, and a British pound will cost you $1.77 in the United Kingdom. AFN Evening News Watch time, now 14 minutes past the hour. I'm Gary Bautell. We'll check in with the latest from Hollywood, and sports is coming up later.
New
described it as a romantic comedy under a microscope. Lachey, the former star of MTV's Newlyweds, is no stranger to WB, having logged multiple guest shots last season on the network's drama series Charmed. Hilary Duff will be the host of the West Coast portion of Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve on ABC this year, and she will perform 3 songs. Producers already announced this summer that Clark, who will be making his first television appearance since suffering a stroke last December, will be in Times Square with co-host Ryan Seacrest. Duff, who has sold more than 1 million copies of her Most Wanted CD, takes over a West Coast role that was filled last year by Ashley Simpson, producers said Monday. Clark's ABC year-end special, traditionally the party of choice for those who ring in the new year in front of the television, faces competition from a new Fox show with Regis Philbin. Philbin was Clark's emergency substitute on ABC last year. And there will be at least 5 more American Idol winners, and an insult-wielding Simon Cowell is booked to do his part in selecting each one. Fox on Tuesday announced a deal for 5 more editions of the nation's most popular television program, with plans to help ardent fans keep in touch with the talent contest over the internet and on cell phones. But don't expect warm and fuzzy. Cowell said the show will stay strong and add new twists, and he'll still be that rude judge everyone despises. I do anyway. And that's your Entertainment Watch. I'm Nicole Emilio.
Sporting News Flash. I'm Bill Leckis. Wednesday night in college hoops, top-ranked Duke clinched a 6-5 victory for the ACC in the annual challenge with the Big Ten. Blue Devils down number 17 Indiana, 75-67. Head coach Mike Krzyzewski.
They were trying to wear us down and used a lot of people, but I thought our guys showed good conditioning, and it was a hell of a win for us. And our defense in the last few minutes was terrific.
J.J. Redick led the way with 29 points. In the loss, Marco Killingsworth scored 34 with 10 rebounds. Number 13 Michigan State over Georgia Tech, 88-86. 14th ranked Iowa held off number 24 North Carolina State, 45-42. Number 23 Maryland, 83. Minnesota, 66. And Virginia, 72. Northwestern, 57. In the top 25, 4th-ranked Villanova blew out Rider, 86-57. Number 5 Oklahoma survived against Tulsa, 62-53. 6th-ranked Gonzaga, 89. Portland State, 80. 34 points Adam Morrison. Number 9 Memphis slammed Jackson State, 97-70. And 19th-ranked George Washington routed St. Francis of Pennsylvania, 85-68. NBA in overtime, Cavaliers bounced the Clippers 112-105. Knicks beat the Bulls 109-101. Celtics 110. Sixers 103. Allen Iverson scored 40 in the loss. Pistons got by the Nets 93-83. Suns over the Pacers 109-91. Wizards 96. Blazers 89. Heat hammered the Hawks 96-74. Warriors outscored the Kings 113-106. Hornets 102. Nuggets 95. Sonics 104. Bobcats 94. Grizzlies stuffed the Raptors 92-66. NHL, Flyers outskated the Devils 2-1. Blackhawks crowned the Kings 3-2. Canucks 5, Avalanche 2. Lightning checked the Maple Leafs 2-1. Mighty Ducks 6, Coyotes 1. In a shootout, Blue Jackets 3, Wild 2. And Stars got by the Sharks 4-1. Baseball, Paul Konerko was re-signed with the White Sox for $60 million over 5 years. That's the latest Sporting News Flash. I'm Bill Leckis.
You're listening live to AFN's Evening News Watch. 18 minutes now past the hour. I'm Gary Bautell. User News Update is next.
Celebrating New Americans and remembering Purple Camp. With your User News Update, I'm Harry Lundberg. In a ceremony earlier this week, 58 soldiers from throughout U.S. Army Europe became American citizens. The soldiers, originally from Nigeria, the United Kingdom, the Philippines, and other places, took their oath of allegiance in a group naturalization ceremony at Campbell Barracks in Heidelberg, Germany.
It was a touching moment.
Specialist Hanem Zaki was born in Egypt, but is now deployed to Kosovo with the California National Guard.
I probably remember it for the rest of my life. You get a lot of feelings at that time. It's moving, really.
A change in U.S. law that took effect last year makes it easier for military members to become U.S. citizens. In the past, foreign-born soldiers had to be on active duty for 5 years before becoming Americans. With the change, during wartime, soldiers can now become citizens as soon as they enter active duty. Deployments can be tough on soldiers, but they can also be tough on their kids. Operation Purple Camp was designed to take some of that stress off of children with deployed parents. And the camp really was purple, with kids from Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marine families coming together in Italy and Germany this past summer. Organizing and running Purple Camp took a lot of work. In ceremonies this week and last week in Heidelberg, Germany, U.S. Army Europe recognized some 60 people who made it happen. USER Commander General B.B. Bell said it was an ambitious project to try to coordinate the camp for people from all services throughout Europe.
The mission was to turn that from an idea to a functioning camp with our most precious resource, our kids.
And that is USER News Update for this week. You can find these stories and more at the U.S. Army Europe homepage. That's hquser.army.mil. With USER Public Affairs, I'm Harry Lockwood.
AFN Evening News Watch time, 20 minutes, coming up in 21 past the hour. Time for Touch of Grace.
I'm Chaplain Jay West, and life starts with a touch of grace. Sir Francis Drake was attempting to recruit a number of young men for an upcoming exploration. He told a group that if they came with him, they would see the most marvelous things their eyes could ever behold. Sandy white beaches, juicy fruits, foreign peoples, priceless treasures, and gorgeous landscapes. Not one enlisted for the journey. The next day, a different group came out. Drake told them that if they came with him, they would encounter storms that would terrify them to tears. Tiger winds would hammer them and blow them off course for months. Water would frequently be scarce. At times, they would be so thirsty that their very souls would cry out for one drop of water. Danger would be their constant companion. Drake concluded by declaring that if they could handle these things, the joys of exploration would be experienced beyond their wildest dreams. Every single man joined Drake that day, boarding the boat eager for the journey. What made the difference in these two groups? It was not the men who had changed, it was the message. The first spoke of rewards, the second of challenges. The first offered comfort, the second promised suffering. The first tempted them with things, the second bid them come and gain an experience like no other. Sir Francis Drake knew that the paths that are offered to us must promise to shape us, to build our character, to change our worldview, if they're to have any appeal to us at all. I'm Chaplain Jay West, inviting you today to journey with God and gain an experience like no other. Dream, pray, and live.
More than just a website, the Army Knowledge Online portal is a passport to Army information, breaking news, email, chat rooms, and much more. There's even an instant messaging service allowing family members real-time conversations with deployed soldiers. There are also pages for assistance on financial, legal, and other issues important to deployed soldiers and their family members. To reach the AKO portal, go to www.hqusera.army.mil and click on AKO at the top of the page.
Hello, I'm here to remind you that if you're having problems with your AFN signal, there's a number you can call for help. Just dial country code 4962146 085 444. Now, obviously, if you're having AFN signal problems now, you won't be able to hear this, and you won't know that the number to call for help is 4962146 085 444. So be sure and write the number down now so that if you do have problems, you'll have the number, which is 4962146 085 444.
The TRICARE Dental Plan is a dental insurance plan for family members of active duty personnel and reservists. Benefits include, at no cost, preventive, diagnostic, and emergency treatment. The dental plan is a safety net for those not living near a military installation. You can save money by enrolling in the dental plan to receive care from local national providers. To enroll, log on to www.ucci.com and select TRICARE TDP from the top menu. Sign up for the Family Member No Cost Plan today.
Get your connection weekday afternoons.
10 minutes past the hour. I'm Army Sergeant Brian Ellis, and you're listening.
Tune to the Power Network, 2 to 4 Central European Time. Classic hits, current news.
Plus, we're going to be talking with the Command Sergeant Major about the new uniform.
The music takes you back. The reports keep you grounded.
Your exchange rates and a tip for investing. You're listening to Connections.
Shining star for you to see what your life can truly be.
You're listening live to AFN's Evening News Watch. Gary Bautell reporting on the Power Network. Time now, 25 minutes past the hour. The U.S. military continues helping survivors of Pakistan's devastating earthquake. Marines have treated more than 2,000 patients, and the Air Force has unloaded nearly 15 million pounds of humanitarian aid. The Marines set up a 60-bed field hospital in the quake zone 2 weeks ago, complete with an ER, a laboratory, and a pharmacy. The October 8th quake killed more than 87,000 people and left millions homeless. Hospitals in the disaster zone report hundreds more survivors are coming in for treatment of serious problems linked to cold weather. At least 8 have died. The weather turned sunnier and warmer today, but Pakistani officials fear there could be a second disaster if shelter and aid do not arrive to protect the survivors from the brutal Himalayan winter. The U.S. and Italian militaries have been working together since the end of World War II. Army Private Michael Kimball reports on how that relationship has grown over the past half-century.
12 members of the 152nd Regiment of the Sassari Brigade from Sardinia came to Vicenza, Italy to learn close-quarters combat techniques with soldiers from various units here on Caserma Ederle. One American soldier, Specialist Samuel Zubia, says what it was like training with the Italians.
It's like wrestling around with anybody else. They're aggressive. They're aggressive. They're small, but they're aggressive. But it's a good competition. It's good fun.
The Americans weren't the only ones having fun. One of the Italian soldiers, Maresciallo Capo Ennio Zavagno, who is the equivalent of an American first sergeant, says how he felt working with American soldiers.
For me, I'm very proud to work with Americans because we work together almost everywhere.
Training events like these show the true unity and cooperation of the American and Italian nations. Army Private Michael Kimball, AFN News.
The 12 members of the Italian regiment are preparing for their deployment to Iraq. Well, you've written a great American novel, have you? Steve Holt says there's a way to get it published for sure.
Self-publishing isn't just for third-rate Hemingways anymore. Thanks to some cheap print-on-demand services, vanity publishing can now look as good as the real thing. As the new issue of Wired magazine explains, everyone from amateur photographers to self-made chefs can turn out high-quality masterpieces. After you've composed your opus, just upload the files to a site like iUniverse or Cafe Press. Your would-be bestseller is then manufactured and mailed to you, often within a few days. Cafe Press, for example, caters to geeks. Some of its most popular homemade titles are cartoons and bound editions of a blogger's online ramblings. iUniverse takes the process a bit further. For a few $100s, you'll get a hardback cover and even some human-generated editing suggestions. And an innovative service called Flip Clips lets you turn your home movies into flip books. Just upload a video file of your sister's wedding or baby's birthday, and in 2 weeks, you'll get a full-color book of memories. I'm Steve Holt. For more on what's next, check out the December issue of Wired magazine.
This is the day rat athletes get to strut their stuff on one Nebraska college campus. CBS correspondent John Harkey tells us what that's all about.
They used to call it the Rat Olympics until the real Olympics complained. Now it's the Extreme Rat Challenge, revealing the behavioral science skills of psychology students.
Each student gets a rat at the beginning of the semester, and they're responsible for training that rat.
Forget the maze. Nebraska Wesleyan spokeswoman Sarah Olson says these highly trained rats do hurdles, a rope climb, even weightlifting. But apparently students have yet to train their rats to do finals.
I think a lot of students would like to give that a try.
John Harkey, CBS News.
The siren still works, much to the dismay of hundreds of people in upstate New York. An old civil defense siren went off in the middle of the night in Yorktown Heights after not being used for up to 20 years. The wailing caused the police department's 911 switchboard to light up like Christmas. Police Lieutenant Donald Shuck says they got more than 100 calls in both the emergency and non-emergency lines. He says it took about 40 minutes to shut the thing off. Police reassured the nervous townsfolk that there was no air raid. World War III wasn't starting, nor was there any emergency at the nearby Indian Point nuclear power plants. Technicians think there may have been a short circuit in some of the old wiring. The weather watch for tomorrow calls for north and central Europe to be cloudy with rain and snow, 30s. Italy be partly cloudy in the north, cloudy with rain in the south, 50 to 60s. Turkey mostly cloudy, isolated rain showers, mid-60s. And that's a report for this day. Enjoy your evening.